Some days are just really good garden days where you get a lot accomplished. I wanted to do crafting, but I knew I had other jobs in the garden I needed to get to, so I got to it so I could do the crafting later. I had some allium bulbs I'd gotten, and I really needed to get those put in the new raised bed. I'd started some sweet peas from seeds and planted those this week, and those were already growing, and I have a vision of those. They've grown up along this lattice work before and look beautiful. This year, I'm going to cover them so the deer don't get them. And then I'm going to have the alliums growing up too. So it's going to look particularly beautiful in my vision. Let's see if that works. But I took the rest of the allium bulbs that were left over and put them in a pot, and then gathered some alyssum seed and sprinkled it on top so that I'll have some color in the pot in the meantime. It's going to look really pretty. Patted those seeds in really well. And then I got to work planting because I had bought some plants that needed to go in the ground. I planted the penstemon that I had bought from Jose at JC Nursery, and that was the first plant to go in. I have to say, every plant I've gotten from Jose are so healthy and beautiful and have done really well. And I was so happy because the soil already within the last couple of weeks after the drought, and we got a good rain, and the healthy soil is just so nice. So I wanted to get these other plants put in so their root growth could start happening and they'd be really healthy come springtime. So I got all of these beautiful little petite daisy flowers put in. There were 3 of them. The petite little blooms on these, they're so delicate and beautiful, and I love the blue. And so I think these add a really special touch to the spiral area of the garden. So I have 3 in now, and as you can see, they're spread out. I do my plantings usually in 3s. I think it just draws the eye from one to the other to the other, and it's really nice in the garden. And you might have seen is that I did sprinkle in some gopher scram around these new plantings in hopes that this is going to keep the gophers away from the precious roots of these plants. And all the while throughout the day working in the garden, Larry the lazy cat was out exploring, chasing lizards, not gophers unfortunately, but he was out having a fun day in the garden too. And the good thing about the last video that I did where I did a walkabout, well, it reminded me of the things I needed to get to. Getting back this salvia, this really needed to be done. So I got in there and I cut that back and I cleaned things up around that area. And I also found some succulents that I was able to use for my crafts that day. And I got to work spraying off the work table because that's where the crafting was going to happen. And I also had one other job that I needed to get done, and that's change out the decorations on the birdhouse. So I did that. I took off the fall decorations. I left the red leaves on, took off a few of the succulents that weren't looking so great and replaced them with others. And I had some fresh succulents to add on there and some new decorations to put on. I just went light with a big bow. It's green. It kind of looks yellow here in the video, but it's green. And added some red toned succulents. And this is just going to make it look a little more Christmassy. So that's my other job done. So I got a lot accomplished in the garden, and now it was time for me to get back to the table and get to do some crafting that I would really wanted to do. I'd gone a couple days before and got some really cute little items at Cheryl's, which is a thrift store in our area. And I had some ideas. I decided to do this quick picture frame project, and that turned out really cute. And hey, for $1 picture frame, it's totally worth it. And it gave me a chance to display one of my favorite flowers in the garden, which is the statice. So there you go. What do you think? And then there were the chairs and the little teal cups. So I drilled some holes in the cups, got some succulent cuttings, and this is what it ended up like. I'm still not sure if I'm going to keep it right here or move it around the garden, but you know, I rotate things around the garden, so we'll see. You might see it somewhere else in the future. But it was a really beautiful day in the garden, and I just felt so overwhelmed with joy that day. Isn't that a great day out in the garden when you have a work day and get a lot accomplished and do some fun things, it's so heartwarming, so, so worth it. Love the garden.